School, a girl named Emily kissed me on the cheek, and I fell in love instantly. But like any good middle school love story, about 5 minutes later, Emily dumped me. They say you're never supposed to remain friends with an ex, but we were only 10 years old, so we decided, what the heck. Going into the 11th grade, about a week before school was supposed to start, Emily sent me a text letting me know that she was going to be switching schools. And that kiss in the 4th grade, that left some mark. And I knew that if I stood any chance of possibly ever getting back with her, well, I needed to at least remain in the same school with her. So I was determined, and I had to get creative, and get creative quickly. So later that night when I got home, I told my mom, listen, this bus route is killing me. I know it's random, but I gotta switch schools. And my mom, being the amazing, lovely woman she was, agreed. So in the 11th grade, I switched schools. Ironically, pretty much right when I got there, I started dating a different girl, and Emily had a boyfriend. And naturally, throughout high school, we started to drift apart. Emily ultimately went to Maryland, I went to Syracuse, so we were in different parts of the US and kind of lost touch. And after high school, after college, we graduate, I get involved in a nonprofit, Experience Camps, a free 1-week camp for kids that have lost a loved one. And the following summer, I really wanted to recruit Emily. Mind you, it's been a couple of years since I last saw her, but I knew she'd make a great volunteer. So I convinced her. The year goes by, it's summertime. I get to camp, and I see Emily. And right away, it was as if no time had passed. I just felt this feeling in my heart. She was smart, beautiful, had an amazing smile, and I so wanted her to be my girlfriend. I just needed to tell her how I felt. So now that we were back in each other's lives, we started going on these friend dates. And on every single one of these friend dates, I tell my guy friends, listen, tonight's gonna be the night. I'm gonna finally tell her how I feel. But then at the end of the night, I'd bite my tongue. I was terrified. I mean, what if she said no and it ruined our friendship forever? Or what if she said yes, but I wasn't ready for it? So, this went on for years. Dinner after dinner, friend date after friend date. And every time I tell my guy friends, tonight, and then nothing. My guy friends grew so sick and tired of hearing me talk about Emily that they said, enough. It's time to move on. You are so deep in the friend zone, you gotta move on. And that's pretty much what I did. About 5 years pass, and I go home to visit my mom. I'm sitting downstairs on the couch waiting for her to come downstairs, and she walks downstairs wearing a green sweatshirt and baggy orange sweatpants, and she sits down next to me. And she says, I have to talk to you about something. I just felt this feeling in my heart that whatever was going to be next wasn't going to be good. She grabbed onto my hands and she told me, I have cancer. And only 5 years earlier, my dad had passed away from cancer, and I knew that hell was ahead. The next day, my mom checks into the hospital, and for the next 2 months, though, something beautiful started to happen. Over those next 2 months, my mom would start to share these bits of gold with me. She'd say things like, life's unfair, and life is glorious, so find your glory. She'd say things like, it's okay to not be okay today, but don't let this moment define you. Let it guide you. And then we'd talk about love. And in the highest of highs over the last couple of years, Emily was always there for me. And now in the lowest of lows, she was still there for me, and it was so evident that I needed to tell her how I felt. So I confessed to my mom about how I felt about Emily. And my mom had some suspicions. I mean, she knew back in the 11th grade. There was a reason why I switched schools, and it wasn't really the bus route. But I confessed to my mom, and I said, tonight's going to be the night I'm going to tell her. So Emily and I go for dinner at one of our favorite sushi spots, and we're sitting there eating, and my mind is racing. What am I going to say? How am I going to say it? How's she going to react? And Emily goes, ice cream, and I thought, thank God. Anything to buy myself just a little bit more time. So we get ice cream, we're walking back to our apartment, and she goes in to hug me goodnight. And I take a step back, and I go, Emily, I'm just curious, is there a world where you see us as more than just friends? Emily, caught completely off guard, says, Why are you asking? And I'm trying to play it cool, and I go, I don't know, just curious. So Emily made it clear right now she wanted to be there for me as a friend. We hug goodnight. Emily goes upstairs, and I start walking home. And I call my friend, and I go, dude, I did it. I told Emily. My friend goes, amazing. What do you tell her? I asked her if she saw us as more than just friends. Yeah, but what did you tell her? And it was in that moment I realized I actually hadn't told her anything at all. So the next day, I go over her apartment, I sit down on the couch, and I just unload everything that I've been holding in. I say, Emily, I've always cared about you more than anyone in the entire world. And I obviously have a lot going on right now with my mom, but I'm not saying to date me next week or next month or even next year. I just can't imagine a future where we don't at least give it a shot. Emily made it clear that she wanted to be there for me as a friend, but we could worry about the rest later. We hug at night, and the next day I go to the hospital and I tell my mom that I finally told Emily. My mom smiled so big, and she promised she'd come around. About a week later, my mom passed away, and shortly after that, Emily and I kissed for the first time. And today, married to Emily.